All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Fusion Hub. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, my name is Chris Mayfield. I'll be your host for the next hour or so-ish. The Fusion Hub is where we mix business, community, and life all in one big ugly mess and then try and tease it out one little bit at a time. If you are listening to this program, you are probably either an entrepreneur or you dedicated your life to working inside nonprofits. And I just want you to know that you are already a fantastic person. You've made a decision to make a difference in community, and that's what we're all about. We're all about community building, being inclusive, and enriching everyone in our community. So that being said, that is a very, very, very long way, Chris, of letting everybody know that we're about to talk to a nonprofit that serves our Richmond community. And so without further ado, and I hate to hear myself talk, so Chris Martin is what are you, Chris? A lifelong passionate advocate for folks with disability, or so let me get out of my own way and just let you explain, what SOAR365 is. Take it away, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for hosting this discussion this morning. Yes, my name is Chris Martin. I'm the Director of Employment Services here at SOAR365. And as Chris mentioned, it has been my lifelong passion to work with people with disabilities in various parts of their lives. I have worked in this field for about 36 years. And joining with me this morning is Myra Lewis, who's one of the employment specialists here at SOAR365, and Leo Castro, who is also an employment specialist here at SOAR365. And I'll let them introduce themselves. Myra?
Hi, my name is Myra Lewis. I do work for SOAR365. I do more of the internal supports within our company. So working with people who SOAR hires to do business options like landscaping, grounds, commercial, production, and things like that.
Okay, great.
Leo?
Well, good morning, Virginia. My name is Leonardo Castro. I've been with SOAR365 as an employment specialist for the past 3 years. It's been a great education in learning Virginia as I transferred from Austin, Texas with my family to Richmond 3 years ago. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
All right, my pleasure. So Chris, give us the broad stroke of what does 365 or SOAR 365 is calls it. What does SOAR 365 do for our community?
Mm-hmm. So SOAR365 actually works with people with disabilities in the Richmond area, so actually greater Richmond area. We stretch as far out as Tappahannock, Virginia, as well as, of course, Richmond, Chesterfield, Henrico, Powhatan, on up to the Tri-City area, Hanover, Richmond. I'm starting to remember all of them, but we're definitely a huge part of the greater Richmond area. SOAR365 has programs from infant services all the way to, I call it, past retirement. So we're working with adults, or as early as infants all the way to adults with disabilities. Our services include such things as pediatric therapy, or those early intervention services. We have a children and youth program, and we work very closely with that program with our school divisions in the area, and one school division in particular, because two of our buildings are right here in Richmond City, is Richmond City Public Schools. We also have adult programs for our adults with disabilities. We have a respite care program where families can, where we provide services for the weekend out at our Camp Baker location, because we do have a camp. And we provide services on the weekend to give families that respite time and allow that adult or youth with a disability to come out to our camp and have fun, while the family can also take a little break and go out and have fun as well. We do have our summer camp. We also have our employment services, which is who we are today, and that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about today. One thing I did want to mention is that SOAR 365 has a wonderful Park 365. It's an all-ability park that is right at our Saunders location. So that park is used quite a bit. But today we're talking a little bit more about business solutions, and business solutions covers what Leo, Myra, and I do, which is supported employment. And as Myra was mentioning, we have our own businesses here where we hire people with disabilities. And those businesses are such things as janitorial, grounds management. We provide, we have a production facility here where we do fulfillment work. We have grounds or our commercial mobile crew where we clean up about 600 miles of road in Henrico County. We also have a huge federal contract at the Defense Supply Center where we operate their janitorial service, grounds management services, but also their 911 dispatch and the Welcome Center out there. So we have huge opportunities here at SOAR 365, as well as we have opportunities out in the community where one of my employment specialists can work with a person in the community, helping them to find a job, find their interests and their preferences, then find that job that they would like to do, find that career. And then my employment specialists work with them in that job until they feel comfortable, until the employer feels comfortable, until everybody feels comfortable that the employment specialist can start fading out and walking away. And we'll hear from one of those companies a little bit later today, or a little bit later this morning on this broadcast. So that is kind of what we do in a nutshell, Chris.
All right, that's a great summary. Myra, I have a question for you as a specialist. What is a benefit to an employer for working with 365 to hire your folks for their business?
Well, the first benefit I feel is all businesses want to do something to show that they are a part of a community, that they have empathy, that they support everyone in our community, like Chris said, all ability individuals. So I think that's the first benefit. But the second benefit to what Leo, Chris, and I do is that we stick with our person from interview on to job site training. And we don't fade away, or we don't leave the individual there to just work. We stand with them the whole time until, like Chris said, the employer feels comfortable. So they have that support in working with a company that works with people with disability, but they also have the advantage of learning about people with disabilities as well. So I think that's the benefit, because it's still kind of uncharted territory. So I think everyone enters a learning process, and it's just a good feeling to know that you're a part of seeing an individual with disabilities get a job, and then you are part of it.
Yeah, the first thing you said really kind of resonated with me. Not too long ago, early last year, 2021, Gallup, which is a huge polling and information gathering organization, among other things, did a study about consumers, and something like 71% of all consumers make their purchase decision by and large on whether the company is involved in their community in a good way. So that is now, people are always going to be price sensitive. People are always going to be, safety sensitive. But now we're, especially millennials, are adding in a new category, and is how does this company interact with my community, and how are they interacting with my environment? And they will make purchase decisions based on those things. So I think any company or any organization that isn't tied into a program like this, or have this kind of connection with their community, is really missing an opportunity here. And so with that, hey, let's just take a minute and do a shameless plug, right? Myra, give us your contact information, website, however you want, so that if a company is listening today and they want to get involved in the community, they can reach out to you and get started in the process. Ready, go.
Thank you. So you can reach us at SOAR365.org. There you'll see a host of options. So if you're looking for employment, of course, you choose employment services. If you're looking for a pediatric or adult day, of course, you choose those services. But our main website is SOAR365.org. And our phone number is 804-358-1874.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So if you're listening and you are not already engaged in your community, this is a fantastic way for you to get involved. This is just so easy, right? You go to SOAR, you tell them what you need, what you're looking for. Not only do you get a great candidate, not only do you get a great employee, but you partner with a community organization. That is what we call the win-win-win. Everybody wins, nobody loses, right? It's not often you come across a situation where nobody loses. This is a win-win-win. So Leo, I got to ask, man, you've been you've been SOAR with SOAR for 3 years.
Yes, indeed.
So when you transitioned from Texas to Virginia, why SOAR? Why what caught your attention, and why did you decide to come to work for SOAR?
Well, the mission was personal for me. Growing up, my sister had a disability. She had a CP, and so I experienced that struggle that families have in trying to retain human services that were person-centered, that really put that person and gave them choice and gave them really engaging ways to kind of counterbalance the disabilities. And so that mission aligned with my personal experiences. And so it was a natural step for me to apply for this position, because I felt as though with my background in human services and public education, I would be a benefit to the mission. And so, that my role as a facilitator for the community, for businesses, for our individuals, I think I'm perfectly aligned in the position, being an employment specialist, to bring all those networks and stakeholders together and hold them accountable, because I'm able to enter all these sort of spaces and with the person in mind, with their interests, with what they want, and advocate for them, with them, to try to get them work to where they want to be in a career or a job or whatever they want in terms of employment. So that's was my journey to SOAR 365, kind of aligning all those missions with my own personal kind of goals.
That's amazing, because you have choices, right? And the fact that you have dedicated at least this part of your life to helping other people is admirable, and I thank you for what you do for the folks in the community. Now, Chris, what is it that and I love putting people on the spot on the radio. Fortunately, nobody can see your face, right? But what is the one thing that you think employers misunderstand about hiring folks with disabilities?
Yeah, I think employers do misunderstand sometimes that a person with a disability can do. We're always looking for those strengths, and all of us can do things. I mean, all of us can do things. We all have strengths. We all have our own little personal weaknesses that we may feel we have. But we all have strengths, and we look for things that are our strengths. Whether it's a career, whether it's within another person, a friend, a volunteer organization, recreation, whatever. We always look towards what are our strengths, how can I contribute? And our people with disabilities, they just want to be part of that contribution. They want to contribute to their community. And I think that's what employers need to keep in mind, is that just because they have a disability doesn't mean they can't do. We have to look for what they can do and really promote that, and understand that they too want to contribute in the community, just like we all want to contribute in the community.
And just from an employer perspective, I'd love to hear what you, and we'll ask Bandito here in a few minutes when they join us. But what are some of the feedback you get from employers about the quality and because I know, so this is kind of a leading question, right? The quality of folks that you bring to the table, particularly right now, everybody's going through the Great Resignation and quitting quietly, all those good things. But that's not the case with the quality and the dedication of the folks you bring to the table. So can you share with us maybe a success story or something that employers are telling you about what you bring to the table there?
Absolutely. And I'm going to turn that actually over to Leo, because I know he's got a couple of wonderful success stories that he can certainly talk about. But I will say that a lot of our employers are very impressed with the fact that just what you mentioned, the quiet quitting and things of that nature. A lot of our, folks really want to work, and
Yes.
they have that desire and that drive. And that's what employers sees, that drive. It's like they really want to be here. They want to work. They want to be here every single day, and they really add to our bottom line. Leo, I'll turn it over to you to talk stories.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. The biggest challenge has been, and I feel in my role, is to kind of dispel these notions, kind of just as an employment specialist, allowing the employer to see how neurodiverse this community is, how the wants and needs are the same as everybody else. So with certain structures in place, success is possible, and given the opportunity. So just allowing the opportunity into these spaces, into a competitive, integrated work environment where individuals can prove, not necessarily prove, but demonstrate that they have what it takes to be in a competitive environment. And once that takes place, then a lot of these notions that employees have, that people have, management, managers, administrators, they start fading away. And then and there can we start building this community. We've had success at movie theaters, warehouses, consumer service, restaurants. So the spectrum in the labor market that our individuals are participating in is wide and vast. But we still find those barriers with employers because they have these notions and are not willing to let those notions go. And open up the doors to allowing these sorts of opportunities.
And I wanted to mention, we had one really good example of this. We had a person that has some cognitive disability, but then also she was on a walk. She's on a walker. She walks and utilizes a walker to assist her. And as soon as she came into a lot of the businesses, some businesses would tend to shut their door, real quick. They didn't want to get to know her. And that's one thing that's very unique about SOAR365. My employment specialists really get to know their folks, and they want to understand who this person is and understand their interests and their preferences and the strengths they already have, and how can we build upon that. She did get a job. It took a few months, but she got a job, and she is very successful today. She loves her job. She goes there 2 days a week. As she will tell us, she makes her money so she can go to Rosie's on the weekends. So she is a huge success story of, once you give a person a chance and what she does. And this particular company is called Underground Kitchen Community First. And they tell us all the time they can't live without her. She's a breath of fresh air, bright, sunshiny person every single day. Her personality is wonderful. She comes in, she works hard, and they just love her.
So Myra, I know you admitted to being a little bit nervous about coming on the radio, and I promised you that you would only have to talk about yourself. You only got to talk about the things that you know. So Myra, I am, you are obviously like Leo and Chris. You had choices, right? What to do for a career and what to do next in your life. So how did you land at SOAR365?
Well, the first thing that I tell everyone after I say my name is that I'm a boy mom. I have 3 boys. And with my first son, I was a very young parent, but with my first son, he had a speech delay very early, like he wasn't even 2 years old. So I learned early about accommodations and about trying different things. I learned early about, if maybe he can't say this, just take what he can say or do and use different context clues to try to figure out and communicate with him. And it just really made me think, if I'm the one advocating for my son who has this disability that maybe he'll have long-term or short-term or whatever, then I wonder who is advocating and doing this for people or adults who don't have that person that can speak for them, or doesn't have that person that can say let's figure it out another way. And I think that's what Leo, Chris, and I do. We figure things out another way, because some businesses are so used to people coming in and already having skills. And all of us as adults, we have our resumes and we have already what we love to do and what we are good at and our skills. But some people with disabilities, they don't have anyone that says, this is a skill that you have, and I'm proud of you, and I can furbish this skill in you, and I can develop this skill in you. And then it starts to add on to their resume, and they start becoming people that can see the good in themselves. And when I did that with my son, now he's 10, he's in the gifted program in Henrico County Public Schools. He'll go on to thank you. He'll go on to IB, but that small speech delay, it did develop into unilateral hearing loss. So he has a disability as well. But again, gifted program, going off to college, hopefully engineering is what he's thinking about. And he's only 10. So, you know, it started off a hard time, but just me hanging in there and being able to say, you know, yes, you have a disability, but we can develop other skills. It's placed him where he is today. And I tell everyone, he's my hero. You know, he's my parent. He's parented me for 10 years through this new process. So that's why. So like Leo said, just SOAR has aligned to part of our mission is helping and assisting people with disabilities. And, you know, I do it at home, I do it at work. So overall, I just feel a big return as far as my gratitude towards this community.
And that is an amazing story. And that, yeah, absolutely. And that helps us and helps the listener kind of frame how different, not in a bad way, but how different this community actually can be. As part of my company mission, I'm a leadership coach, right? And what I always tell my clients is, hey, you know, find the strengths of your people. And if you find the strengths of your people and you then allow them to use those strengths the majority of the time, it creates a whole new person. It creates a whole new employee by encouraging simply to do what they do best and within their limitations. So that is, you're spot on there, Myra. And you know, I think when people come to understand that, you know, we have a job description that we write with a faceless job description, you know, we have these skills or attributes that we think we need. And sometimes they're right, but just as often they're not. And you're never going to find somebody that checks all of those. So why not be open-minded about it? And then once you have a good employee who's consistent, who shows up, right, who shows up on time and shows up every day, use those skills that they do have in abundance and find new ways and creative ways to capitalize on those skills. And it really will change your business and it really will change your life. So we are approaching about the midway here. And as you know, airtime, radio time is not free. In fact, it's not even cheap. So we have to pay some bills. We have some sponsors to hear from. So I hope everyone will stick around for just a few minutes. And if you're listening, don't go anywhere unless you actually have gotten to work and have to get out of the car. But you can then pick us up at 106.1 on your internet browser. So everybody hang out for a minute. We'll be right back.